I think that by and large, I do tend to go under the muscle, but not always. And so you're right in saying that if you go above the muscle, you basically have less soft tissue covering the implant. So you've got less camouflage over the implant. So if you reach a certain size of implant, it's going to be more noticeable because the edge of the implant becomes more palpable, or you can feel it a bit more easily, and you'll get more of a step off from the top of the rib. So basically, you know, a normal breast should be a fairly gentle slope. There shouldn't be a step off. So that's one of the giveaways, I guess, of an augmented breast, is that there's a bit of a step. And so that's more of a potential issue if the implant is sitting above the muscle. But for someone who has got a bit of their own breast tissue, so they have a bit of extra camouflage, soft tissue camouflage, so to speak, and if they're not going for something extraordinarily large, then I think above the muscle is a perfectly reasonable thing. And I think most people would be hard pushed to be able to tell if it's above or below the muscle. Generally speaking, if I put something with my implants, I do tend to go below the muscle, or as a dual plane, so it's not completely below the muscle. What I like about dual plane is that the upper pole, so the top of the breast, is a bit more camouflaged because there's more soft tissue cover. So now there's muscle as well as breast and skin covering the top of the implant. There are benefits with being below the muscle. So, you know, there's a lower risk of capsular contracture, where I guess the scar tissue around the breast, which is the capsule, has a lower chance of hardening and tightening if it's below the muscle. The dual plane basically means that the bottom half of my implant tends not to be covered by muscle. One of the problems with covering the implant completely with muscle is it tends to want to sit too high. So by having it dual plane, the upper part of the breast is camouflaged, but the lower part doesn't need as much camouflage because that's usually where more of the breast tissue is anyway, so that helps to hide the implant. And also it means that you get a bit more of that lower pole projection. So one of the things that I think, you know, is nice, one of the things that defines a good looking breast is the lower pole. So even though everyone's focused on upper pole and the cleavage, if you're looking at a breast, what defines a natural looking breast or normal looking breast is the lower part, where you've got that curve at the bottom of the breast, and where it joins on the chest wall, it needs to be a nice sharp line. And so having that dual plane helps to do that. One of the downsides, obviously, of putting things under the muscle is it's a slightly bigger procedure. Okay, so I think recovery time probably is a little bit slower because muscle has been dissected, and so, you know, people will notice that. And so I normally say to people, it's a 2-week sort of process in terms of recovering from that. For some people, the sensation of having an implant partially under the muscle takes some getting used to. It can feel like there's something tucked into your bra. And then there is the risk of animation. So, you know, animation is where the breast can move in a sort of bizarre fashion if the pec major muscle is activated. And so, for example, if someone is heavily into the gym and does a lot of chest work at the gym, then, you know, putting it under the muscle is not going to be for them, because that will affect movement of the breast potentially, and it will displace the implant just because their pec major is usually so big.